Hey everyone, Chris here for Thomann Guitars and Basses. We are at NAMM 2025 and it's my absolute honor to have John here from Peavey Electronics.
It's great to meet you, Chris.
So nice to have you here. I'm really excited to see and hear about Peavey and Thomann united again, and I've seen some amazing pedals here on the floor.
Yeah, you sounded really good playing through it.
Thanks man, thanks. Can you walk us through what the idea was behind them?
Yeah, it's really just the recreation of the preamps or preamp sections of different amps of Peavey amps of the years classics. The first one is the Session is actually for like pedal steel, but as you can tell, it's very useful because with that much EQ power, it's very useful with regular guitar.
Yeah.
And it's really cool kind of using it before one of the dirty preamp pedals, which wasn't, one of those things that wasn't really intended, but you come to NAMM and you hook it up and it's like, hey, that
works.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
I love it. That was one of the playings I did. That was the Session going into the VTM.
Yeah, that's the combination that I like. The VTM is a recreation of the old VTM amp that Adrian Vandenberg used.
Oh, wow.
Steve Morse used for years, back before he was using what he's using now. You would see him play with a rack that had a Marshall head and a Peavey VTM head. And for some reason, I always assumed he was using the Peavey for clean and the Marshall for dirty, but he was using the Marshall for clean.
Wow.
And the VTM was his dirty amp. So all those saturated Steve Morse tones you heard for years, back with the dregs and all that was a Peavey VTM.
Yeah, the VTM.
Yeah.
It's like John Frusciante, who uses the Marshall for his cleans, the major.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that's gonna be his dirt sound. Nope.
I know. It's kind of non-intuitive, but it works. Yeah. And then the Decade is like kind of the preamp of the little Decade amps, which we've reissued too, with Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age and all the other bands he's been in. And the preamp pedal, though, when you got it in the pedal form, you run it into whatever. You're not stuck with the 8-inch speaker. You could get it to sound huge.
Yeah.
But even with the amp, you disconnect the speaker and plug it into a 412 or whatever, it would sound huge too. The Bandit Supreme, we've had many Bandits throughout the years, but this is probably like the classic one. Or I think it can do a couple different ones, because of the switches on the top and everything. And that thing sounds great. And then, of course, the Rockmaster, which was a single-space rack mount. Yeah, I used to use one back in the 90s. It's just great sounding rack mount, and it's basically voiced the same way. They used to have a push-pull on the gain to get a gain boost, so we put that on a separate foot switch. Yeah, so set it for your rhythm gain, and then hit the gain switch for your solos and stuff. Yeah, and they sound great.
We went into this amp, which is your new pedal platform amp.
This is a Peavey Musician, and it has two channels. So the first channel is kind of an instrument input with a 3-band EQ. So if you're using more traditional pedals, compressors, overdrives, things like that, you would go in there the same way you would into any clean amp. But the second channel is more of like a line level input with its own level, so you're bypassing the tone stack and everything. So if you're using more of a preamp system, either like an all-in-one or preamp pedals like this, then you can go into there and you're not dealing with the extra tone stack. And
in a way, it's like a very handy effects return without being confusing and without having to mess around at the back of the amp.
You're not having to go into the back, and then you also have the volume knob on the front, which is very handy. So
almost never get.
Yeah, because a lot of times the effects loop is after your master volume, and then you don't have a stage volume control unless you wire something on. Yeah, so it's pretty cool for that. And it's got switches for the power amp, so you can you go between 3 power levels. You can change it between Class A, B, and Class A, and also change it from fixed bias to self bias. It comes with 2 6L6s, but I think you can use several different octal power tubes if you want to use different tubes. It's pretty cool amp.
I really enjoy the sounds. You guys will hear it, of course, the playings, and
And we've got a built-in digital reverb, and there's a little switch on the front where you can switch between spring and plate. So, yeah, it's a cool amp.
really cool. Thanks so much, John. Have an awesome show, and
Good to see you.
see you later. You guys take it easy, and of course, see you down there in the comments. Let us know what you want to see next. Bye-bye.